Last week when we were working on place value, we had some numbers up on the screen and I could drag them into a place value chart and make a number. Here, for problem A, they gave us a number, so we don't have to make one up anymore. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number that they gave me, the one that says that's here where it says standard form. I'm going to copy it into this place value chart that they made for us. If you look, they've already kind of separated it into those groups of 3 for us because they put these darker lines in between every 3 place values. Okay, before I use this, what I'm going to do just to help myself out, I'm going to label my periods. So here I'm going to put millions on top of the millions. I'm going to put thousands on top of the thousands. And I'm going to put units on top of the last. So that way I remember what period they're in. The millions period, the thousands period, and the units period. Then I'm going to copy my number from this line here where it says standard form. 3, 5, 0, comma, 9, 2, 7, comma, 7, 8, 6. And thankfully my number fit perfectly. They won't always give us numbers that fit perfectly, but I can check to make sure that I put everything in the right place by checking where my commas are. I noticed that here they gave me those darker lines and my commas are on those darker lines. So I know that everything is in the right place. Exactly what I want. Okay. Then it's this second part here. Oh, yes, Alexa. Yeah, not the first one. You're going to find where it says place value 3A, page 1. Okay. This first line says the place value of the 3 is blank. So like we saw last week, like we talked about last week, depending on what place value the number is in, depending on the place value the digit is in, it's not just a regular 3. Who can find the 3 in this number for me? What place value is that 3 in? What place value do I find the 3 in? Kylie? Close, close, close. Millions would just be this one. Oh, no, it's in the millions period. You're right. So 100 million. Perfect. Now, since it's a 3, it's not 100 million, it's 300 million because there's a 3 here. So the place value of the 3 is 300 million. I'm going to put the 3. I'm going to make it 300. And then instead of just 300, I'm going to make it 300 million. So for every other number, I'm going to put zeros because they're just asking me about the 3. So that means I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. I already put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 300 million. And I noticed that there's some commas here. So I'm going to make sure my commas are in this number as well. Yes, ma'am. So what we're doing, Hadeen, you're going to look in that packet of math papers. You're going to look for the one that it looks sideways. So it looks like it was printed out sideways. That's what we're working on right now. Okay? And the page is place value 3A, page 1. Do you have a question, Violet?
I'm missing one of.
Are you on the right page? It says 3A, page 1. Okay. So up here, you mean up here in the place value chart is where you're missing the boxes? Okay.
One box.
Let's see. Does it look like it was going off the page? It's just an empty space?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure you're not on 2A, page 1? You're on 3A? Let's see. Because there is one that says 2A, page 1, and it has one less box. But let me see. But if you're missing that box, Violet, then all I want you to do is just draw it in with your pencil. Just go ahead, draw the box in with your pencil if it's missing. Okay. Word form. Word form sounds more confusing and more difficult than it actually is. It's really not. Word form just means how would you read the number. Word form is why I wrote down the names of the periods, because they're going to help us out. For word form, I'm going to make sure that I first remember that I break my number, especially the bigger numbers, into 3-digit parts. I'm going to look at this first part. How would I say this first number if I was just going to read that? How would I read this number? Who can tell me? Brianna, how would I read this number?
300.
Perfect. And you even added the name of the period. So I would put 350, and I have to put the name of the period. 350 million. That's just the first part, but it's not all of the number. 350 million is just the beginning. Now, when I make a number, when I change a number into word form, I have to add the comma in the word form too. So after 350 million, I had a comma here. I'm going to put a comma here. Then I can do the next part. I already did the millions, so I can cover that part up. Now I'm going to focus on the next one. How would I read this number? The one in the middle. Who can tell me? How would I read this number here in the middle? If it was all by itself, how would you say it? Alexa? Perfect. 927, and then I would add the name of the period. Nine hundred 27, and I have to put the name of the period. 1000.
It's blurry.
That's okay.
Can you be quiet?
All right. And again, there's a comma in my number. I'm going to put a comma afterwards. Let's see, baby. Okay. Okay. Now we still have one last part of the number. For this last part, I don't have to include the name of the period. I just write the number. So if all of the other parts were gone and it was just these last 3 digits, how would I read that? Brianna, how would I read these last 3 digits by themselves?
Did 80.
Perfect. 700 86. And again, for this last period, I don't have to add the name of the period. I just put the name of the number. Okay. Expanded notation. That was what we talked about last week, where you take the number and you break it up. You use the place values and you break each place value into a different piece. That's what we're going to do here. My first digit is a 3, but it's not a regular 3. What place value is this 3 in? It's not in the ones place, it's in what place value? Riley, what place value is my 3 in? 100 millions. So to show that it's in the 100 millions place, I'm going to put times and then put 100 million. So 1, and again, I can use this to help me out. If it should be in the 100 millions, I'm going to count all the place values that are smaller to know how many zeros to put. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need to put 8 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is a ton of zeros. And I can't forget my commas. Should have 2. 1, 2, 3. There's a comma here. 1, 2, 3. There's a comma. So 3 times 100 million. That's big. But it's not the only digit in my number. It's just the biggest one. There's still more. So I'm going to add a plus sign. What digit would come next in my number? We did the 3 already. Which one would be next? Brianna, which number would come next after the 3?
5,000 million.
Okay, not 1,000 million. This one, the T is for 10. So 510 million. That's okay. I'm glad that you noticed the T and you thought with it. That's good. So it's a 5, but it's not a regular, everyday, normal 5. It's 510 millions. Times million. Let's see how many zeros. Here's 10 million. I'm going to count all the place values that are smaller to see how many zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this time I'm going to put a 1 and 7 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and there's also 2 commas. Again, every 3 places. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. And we can see why they call it expanded notation now. We can see that the number looks way longer, or about the same size right now, but I've only done 2 digits. I haven't even gotten to the rest of them yet. But I do know that there's more. Now this next part's a little bit tricky. We did the 3, did the 5. Who can tell me what digit would come next? After the 3, after the 5, which one comes next? Jada, which one comes next? The 9. Perfect. Remember, every time we do expanded notation or expanded form, we skip zeros. So I don't have to do anything with the 0. I just do the 9. Awesome job. Jada, what place value is that 9 in? Because it's not a regular everyday 9. What place value? 100,000. Jada, take your hand. Kiss your brain. That was fantastic. The 9 is in the 100,000s. Since it's in the 100,000s, I'm going to check to see how many zeros I need by counting the smaller place values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this time I only need 1 comma. 1, 2, 3, and then a comma. Okay. Nine is not the last number, not the last digit. So I'm also going to put a plus sign. 9 times 100,000 plus, I don't know. What should come next after the 9? what digit would be next in my number? Alexa, what digit would be next after the 9? The 2 and the 10,000s. Awesome. 2, and then to show it's not a regular everyday 2, but 2 times the 10,000s. So let's see how many zeros I need for 10,000s. Count all the smaller place values. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 zeros this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two times 10,000. All right, we're getting closer to the end. We're not there yet. Need a little bit more. I'm gonna put another plus sign. Okay, so we did the 3, did the 5. We skipped the 0. We did the 9, did the 2. Which one comes next? Kylie, what would be next after the 2?
7,000.
7,000. Okay, I'm gonna put 7 times, because it's not a regular everyday 7. It's 7,000. See, here's 1,000. See how many zeros I need. 1, 2, 3. Okay, just 3 zeros this time. And I need a comma right after the 1,000. See, I noticed that these are getting shorter, which means I'm getting closer to the end of my number. Closer to it, but not quite to the end yet. So we did 7,000. What would come next? Bella, can you tell me? What would be next in this number after 7,000? Not yet. So we did 7,000. What's the next one? 700. If it's the same digit, we can't skip it. Have to put it. So 700. So I need to show that the 7 isn't just a regular 7, that it's in the hundreds place. 7 times 100. For 100, I'm going to count the smaller place values. 1, 2. Just need 2 zeros. Okay, it's getting even shorter now. After 700, what's the next one? Alexa, what's the next? Perfect, 8 tens. 8 times 10. And if I count the place values that are smaller, I just need 1 0. 8 times 10, we've got one last part. After 8 times 10, what's the last one? What's the one that's missing? Kylie? 6 times 1. And there's my expanded notation. And again, there's a reason why they call it expanded. Because it's so stretched out because you break it apart by the place values. The last one. The value of the 7 in the thousands place is blank. The value of the 7 in the hundreds place. So, Bella, you noticed this earlier. We have 2 7s, right? One in the thousands, one in the hundreds. Are these two sevens the same? Would these two sevens be the same? What do you think, Bella? Are these two sevens the same or are they different? The 7 in the thousands and the 7 in the hundreds. Are they the same 7 or are they different 7s? I think your mic is still muted, Bella. Different. Perfect. They're not the same 7. They can't be because they're in different place values. Okay. Last week, I told you that when we talk about place values and we try to figure out which one is the bigger one, which one is the smaller one, there are only two answers that it could be. One answer is if it's bigger, one answer is if it's smaller. Who remembers what was the answer if it's a bigger number? If the place value is a bigger place value, how much bigger is it? Kylie. Okay, 10 times greater. Perfect. Now, Kylie, what if it's smaller? Not 10 less, but 10 is involved. I'm so glad you remembered that part. That is super important. If the number is bigger, if the place value is bigger, it is 10 times. You're absolutely right about that. If the number is smaller, then it's 1/10. It's like a fraction. You were very, very close. 10 is perfect. You always want to remember that number 10. So if it's bigger, it's 10 times bigger. If it's smaller, it's 1/10 smaller. But it's really good that you remembered the 10 because a lot of times people will go, oh, it's 7 times bigger because the digit is 7. But that's not the way it works. Yeah. So the value of the 7 in the thousands place. Who can tell me? Is the 7 in the thousands bigger or smaller than the other 7? Kaylee. Is this the 7 in the thousands? Is that the bigger 7 or the smaller 7? The bigger one. So, which one should I put? What should I put? Should I put 10 times or 1/10, Kaylee? If it's 1/10, you're telling me that's the smaller one. But we said this is the bigger one. So it has to be 10 times. 10 times the value of the 7 in the hundreds place. Problem B starts off a little bit differently. They put the number into the place value chart for us. And they leave all the other parts blank. So there's two things I'm going to do before I do any of this. Number one, I'm going to go to my place value chart and I'm going to add my commas where they belong. Again, they were still pretty nice to me and they put darker lines where my commas go. I'm going to put commas on those darker lines. Second thing I'm going to do, on top of these place value charts, I'm going to go ahead and write down the names of the periods. We have millions. We have thousands. And we have units. Now, some really, really good news. The standard form, all we have to do is copy the number. That's it. We just copy the number without putting the lines. Standard form is how we normally see numbers. So normally, they're not in a place value chart for us. They still have the commas, so we need to make sure we add those. But that's it. The standard form is just copying the number from my place value chart. So a very, very simple thing to do. Then they ask me about one of my digits, place value of the 5. If I look at the 5, who can tell me what place value is the 5 in? Kylie, what place value is the 5 in? Okay, 5 10,000s. So to write that, I'm going to put 5. And if I look after my 10,000s, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to put a comma after 1, 2. $50,000. Okay. Word form. Again, word form is just how you would say the number if you were going to read it. And to do that again, I'd want to use those 3-digit chunks, those periods. So I'm going to start with the biggest one. I'm going to cover up everything else. How would I read this number all by itself? How would I read it? What would I say to read this number? Who can tell me? How would I read this number by itself? Brianna?
40 million.
Perfect. 841, and then because of the period, it's million. So that's what I would write down. 841 million. And I see there's a comma there in my number. I'm going to put a comma here. $841 million. All right. That's the first period finished. Now I need the next one. I'm going to cover up the other periods, the ones I'm not using right now. How would I read this number? This one here in the middle. How would I read this one, Messiah?
8,000.
Perfect. $600 $58, and then because of the period, 1,000. And then again, there's a comma in my number, so I'm going to put a comma in mine. So we already did the millions period, we did the thousands period. There's only one left. How would I say this last number? Kylie, how would I say this last part of my number? It was by itself. 379. Awesome. And there's my word form. Right? Expanded notation. Again, we're going to break it apart by place value. I'm going to start with the biggest place value. For my number, what digit do I see in the biggest place value? Brianna, what's the digit in the biggest place value?
800 million.
So there's an 8, and it's in the 100 millions place. So to show that, I'm going to write 8 times 100 million. Just like on the last one, I'm going to count the place values after 100 million to see how many zeros I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I write 100 million, I need 8 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I need 2 commas. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. That's 800 million. Okay. We still have more digits, so I need to put a plus sign at the end. After the 8, what digit would come next? What's the next biggest digit in my number? We have the 8 in the 100 millions. We did this. So which one is next? Jaylene, which one's next? After the 8 in the 100 millions, what would be the next one?
My computer level. About the place value.
Well, where's the paper? Because we should all have a copy of this paper here. Okay. So, Jaylene, I want you to find place value 3A, page 1.
Yeah, I have it, and I wrote down number 8, but I didn't get the expanded notation.
Okay. Well, we can copy it as we're going because I still have it here on my screen. But I want you to really quickly, Jaylene, look at problem B. So we're doing the expanded notation. We did the 8 already. What number comes next?
The 4.
Okay, and what place value is the 4 in? Perfect. The 4, but it's not a regular everyday 4. It's a 4 in the 10 millions. So I have to put 4 times 10 million. Let me count my zeros to see how many I need. There's 10 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need 7 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to need 2 commas after every 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3, comma there. 1, 2, 3, comma there. And since I know I'm not finished yet, I'm going to go ahead and put that plus sign afterward.
It's blurry.
Okay. We've done the 8. We've done the 4. What number or what digit comes next? After the 8, after the 4, what is next in my number? Alexa, what's next? 1, and it's in the 1 million. I'm going to put 1. And then to show that the 1 is in the millions place, I need to write times 1 million. Times. And I'm going to check after my millions place to see how many zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. And I still need 2 commas after every 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2. We've got 3 digits now in our expanded notation. We did the 8 in the 100 millions place. We did the 4 in the 10 millions place. We did the 1 in the millions place. Who can tell me what number comes next? What would be the next digit we should add? Ezekiel?
6.
Okay, and what place value is the 6 in?
100,000.
Awesome. Okay, we need 6 times 100,000. 6 times, and I kind of ran out of space over here, so I'm going to put the rest down here. 100,000. Let's check after the 100,000 and see how many zeros I need to add. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So we just need 1 comma this time. 6 times 100,000. And then a plus sign afterwards because I'm not finished yet. We're getting closer, but we're not quite finished just yet. After the 6, what's next? We've done the 8, the 4, the 1, the 6. The next number is the... Bailey, what's the next number? Six. Well, 6 is the one that we just finished, but what's the next one after the 6, Bailey? Five. And what place value is the 5 in, Bailey? Because this 5 is not just a regular everyday 5. Okay? So that would be the 10,000s. So it's 5 10,000s or 50,000. See how many zeros I need after the 10,000s. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, and just 1 comma. 2, 3, comma. All right, I see they're getting pretty short. We're almost finished with this one. We did the 8, we did the 4, we did the 1, we did the 6, we did the 5. What's next? Alexa? 8,000. I'd put the 8 times, and since it's in the thousands place, I'd put times 1,000. We only need 1, 2, 3 zeros. And 1 comma. They're getting really short now, so I know I'm getting really close to the end here. Hang on, guys. Sorry, just a second. All right. After the 8, what comes next? In a bit, Brianna. What would be next after the 8? Well, I guess after the second 8, because we did an 8 earlier. Violet, what would be next? 3, and what place value is that 3 in? The hundreds, perfect. I do 3 times 100. And I just need 1, 2 zeros. Okay, almost at the end. Which one is next? Sebastian? What would be next, Sebastian? Yes, ma'am. Don't worry about that, because remember, after school every day, I put the videos of the stuff that we did on YouTube for you. So the video will be up there, so that way you can catch up then, okay? Because after this, we have a little more math that we're gonna do. Well, you shouldn't be able to see my screen, Sebastian. You should be able to see my paper here. That's what we're working off right now. But we also have our own copies. So we're working on problem B. We already have the 3 in the hundreds place. What digit would be next for our expanded notation, Sebastian? After the 3 in the hundreds place, what would it be? Not 100,000, because that's going back up. We need to go further down. Who can help Sebastian out? After the 3 in the hundreds place, what should be the next digit for my expanded notation? Kaylee? Not quite. We're skipping ahead a little bit. There we go. 7 times 10, because it's in the tens place. We have one last one to finish it off. What's the last digit that we have to add? Kylie? 9 times 1. Oh, sorry. I was going to put 100. It's not 900, it's just 9. Regular plain old 9. And there's our expanded notation for that number. And again, you can see why they call it expanded notation, because it looks much, much longer than the number did originally. Okay, again, take this paper, put it away somewhere where you know it's not going to get lost, somewhere where you know where it is. That way, tomorrow we can continue working on it.